In Algebra 2, section 6.1, we're dealing with operations on functions. So basically now we're taking functions and we're combining them. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now addition and subtraction, just like anything when we're dealing with variables, you can only combine like terms. Multiplication and division, it's a little bit different. So let's use these as examples. This sign is the same thing as saying f of x plus g of x. So I'm going to use, and pay attention to the order. Now this one, it doesn't make too much sense. It doesn't make much difference. And neither does this one, I don't think. It might. No, with multiplication, no. But this one, it does make a difference which one you put on top, which one you put on bottom. So let's try this. This is 2x plus negative x plus 5. So 2x, the plus doesn't change anything, so negative x plus 5. Now I'm going to combine 2x and x, which gives me x plus 5. If I'm going to say, subtraction. Subtraction and division makes, because it matters which one you put first. Addition and multiplication, it doesn't. So hopefully, it's just like regular addition and subtraction. Subtraction and division. So this one, f of x goes first, so I'm going to do 2x minus negative x plus 5. Because the negative is there, I'm going to bring down that 2x, but then I'm going to take this negative and I'm going to distribute it. So it's positive x minus 5. Then I'm going to combine like terms, so 3x, bring down that, minus 5. Now multiplication, fx goes first, so 2x, negative x plus 5. I'm just going to take this and distribute it. Negative 2x squared and plus positive 10x. Now f of x goes first, so we have 2x negative x plus 5. Now, if these had squares in it or something like that, and I can break it down from the things that you learned from last chapter, then I might be able to cancel some stuff out. But because these are the simplest terms, top and bottom, and I can't really break down much of anything else, this becomes my answer. All right? So we're going to try a problem, so go ahead and pause this. And then we'll go on to the next one. For number 1, they're asking us to go ahead and do the same things, so as we did here, but the equations are a little bit longer. So pay attention to which one's f of x and which one's g of x. Now, again, when it comes to addition and subtraction, you're just focusing on like terms. So 3x squared plus 7x plus 2x squared minus x minus 1. And I have to distribute this plus, but a plus and a negative keep it still negative, so I'd end up with 3x squared plus 7x plus 2x squared. Plus and a minus is still negative x. Plus and a minus is still negative 1. And then I'll combine like terms. So there's no 3x, I'm going to bring that down, 3x squared I mean. There's no other 2x, and I'm underlining so I know I've taken care of it. And then the last one here is 7x and x. So 7 minus 1x gives me positive 6x, and then that negative 1 is tacked on at the end. Right? So the next one is subtraction, and pay attention to the one that's asking first. So they asked us to put f minus g because it's going to be different from g minus f. So we're going to do f of x minus g, so 3x squared plus 7x minus 2x squared minus x minus 1. Now, in this one, when we distribute the negative, it's going to change the second equation. So this would be a negative 2x squared. A negative and a negative make a positive x. And a negative make a positive 1. That distribution could really, it confuses a lot of people who forget, then you get the answer wrong, so please pay attention to that. I have 2x squared. Oh. I guess these are both x squared here. My apologies. Sorry, sometimes my brain gets ahead of me. So this can be combined, so I end up with 5x squared and then plus 6x minus 1. So this one is 3x minus 2x squared. 3x squared minus 2x squared gives me just 1x squared. And then 7x plus x gives me plus 8x plus 1. When I multiply it, it's, I'm going to use this one, right, these two, for number 2. The multiplication, f goes first, so 3x squared minus 2x plus 1 times x minus 4. So it's going to be 3x squared times x minus 4 minus 2x times x minus 4 plus 1 x minus 4. Right? So I take every term and I multiply it by the whole thing. Every term and multiply it by the whole thing. That's how I got these. And then I just distribute and then combine like terms. So 3x squared will give me 3x cubed. 3x squared times negative 4 is negative 12x squared. Okay, negative 12. Don't forget to bring that negative with it. Negative 12 times x gives me negative 2x times x is 2x squared. Negative 2x times negative 4 is a positive 8x. Positive 1 times x is positive x. Positive 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. And then I'm going to combine like terms. So 3x cubed, there's no other 3x cubed. So 3x cubed, and then negative 12x squared. Sorry. This is, so negative 12 minus 2 is negative 14x squared. 8x plus 1x is plus 9x. And then negative 4 is brought down. So that's my answer. So again, I just take it and I take each term from the first one and I multiply it by the entire second term, distribute, and then combine like terms at the end. So in this case, the division can be a little tricky. So I'm going to put this board down into division. So I need you to first pause and write this down, and I'm going to rewrite 2b here so that we can work on it with a clear board, because I need you to be able to see. So f of x equals 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. G of x equals x minus 4. And then we're trying to find f divided by g of x. All right, so in this case, I need to see if this can be simplified. 3x squared minus 2x plus 1, f is on top, over x minus 4. So the clue here is to see, we're going to use the remainder theorem to see if this is a factor. Because if I can break these up into bubbles, then it might just help, then I can simplify it, right? So what I mean is if I take x minus 4, so I'm going to do synthetic division, right? This will be 4, 3, negative 2, 1. 2, 1, 0. Okay. I'm going to add. I'm going to bring this down. 4 times 3 is 12. 12, negative 2 is 10. This is 40. 4 minus, this would be 41. So my answer, this is my remainder. Because my remainder is not 0, this is not a factor of this. So even if I broke this down, if I factored it into bubbles, I would not get an x minus 4. And because this is not a 0, this is not a factor, then that means this is as simplified as it's going to get, right? If by chance this was a factor, then I can break this down into bubbles and I cross out the similar bubbles that are on top and bottom. And we probably will do an example of that in class. But for the most part, because this is not a factor, I'm going to go ahead and circle that as my answer. So that's 2b. So go ahead and pause and write this down too. And remember, if you need the other board, just rewind a little bit and pause and watch. I have one more board for you. So, and then we're home free. I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Okay. So, in this case, we have f of x equals 3x squared minus x plus 4. G of x is 2x. So, the last one is a composite function. So you're not adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. You're replacing one equation for all the variables in another equation. So this one is f of g of x. It looks like fog, but it's said f of g of x. So you take the equation f of x and you put the equation g of x and you replace it for all the x's in g. It's called composite. Okay, so basically I'm going to take, because f is first, I'm going to take the equation f of x. And it's going to be 3, I'm going to do it in a darker. Sometimes people complain they can't. So, right? So this is f of x. And I'm going to take g of x, remember, because sometimes there's a number in here and I replace all of that with the variables, but in this is the same thing, except instead of replacing it with numbers, I'm replacing it with entire equations. So I'm going to take this and put it in parentheses and replace it for all x's. Right? Make sure there's no floating numbers. Everything's separated by a plus or minus. So first, I'm going to do this. Okay? 2x. You see this? 2x minus 1, 2. Now, some of you guys are still doing this in your assignments, okay? And you're just taking that 2 and you're distributing it. It doesn't work that way, remember? Because there's a plus or minus in there, I can't just distribute. I have to put them into 2 different bubbles and then multiply them out. So this is 2x times the whole second equation, and then 1, negative 1 times the whole second equation. So this is then 4x squared minus 2x, and then negative 2x plus 1. So then I bring down 4x squared. This becomes negative 4x, and this becomes positive 1. So then this replaces this. So now this is 4x squared minus 4x plus 1, and then I bring everything else down. One more time, I cannot take this 2 and just distribute it out. So from here, so this squared and just distribute. But this one, I can then take this and distribute. So I end up with 12x squared, and then 3 times negative 4x, which is negative 12x, and then plus 3. And now I have no more multiplication or power or exponents to do, so then I just simplify. I just combine like terms. There's no more x squared, so I'm going to bring this 12x squared, and then I have a negative 12 and a negative 2x, so this is negative 14x, and then positive 3 minus 1, which is 2, plus 4, which is 6. And this is my answer. Okay, so go ahead, this is step 1, this is step 2. So I need to first do this, and then that's how I got this. Remember, I can't just do it, and then I can't just distribute the 2. Then I can go ahead and distribute the parentheses. Once there's no more parentheses, I just combine like terms. So go ahead and try page 389, numbers 1 through 6. Pause it and write this down, and then do page 389, numbers 1 and 6. And I will see you in class.